Welcome everyone to the House of Dre's podcast. And today we have to make this big old debate. Big debate. But before I give my opinion, this is what the debate is based off of. Nelly said this in the interview with the shop episode. I think this is they said season 7, episode 1. And this is what we're talking about right here. Let's pay attention real quick.
You got to understand, my era of music was the toughest era in hip hop ever. Ever. When I put out songs, I had to go against DMX,
Eminem,
Jay-Z, Eminem, Lil Wayne, 50 Cent. All of us are fighting for one spot. So from 99 to like 2008, 10, it's the hardest era ever.
Now that we got that settled and we finally understand what's going on before we just jump up in this mud, I just wanted to go ahead and put that out. Shout out to Nelly. And let's talk about it, man. As he said, he thinks his era was the hardest. So we're talking about 2000 to 2009. That's a decade, or roughly about a decade. That's what they focus more so about, because you pay attention to those years like that, the 9 years of a decade. You can go 99 to 09 if you want to, but we can talk about it. So I seen this a while ago. I seen this probably last week or so. I was supposed to make a podcast about it, but actually no, I'm right on target. I seen this past week or so. I was looking at it. I was like, is he correct? I'll go through the comment sections, of course. I'm looking. I'm vibing and looking. And of course, I get that good old fashioned one comment that says, the 90s was tougher. I get a comment that says today's era is toughest. Okay. And of course, that ended up leading me to doing this podcast because in your personal mind, hip hop and R&B, no, hip hop and rap, in your personal opinion, oh, I gotta sit up. Yeah, I'm chilling in my bed today. It's raining outside. I usually be outside recording these, but hey, I'm chilling today. Is Nelly right? Is his era of music the toughest in any era possible? Let's break it down. So hip hop and rap started. What year was that? Started about I want to say 60s and 70s, sometime around that, late 60s and early 70s or something like that, right? And it was more like dance music, right? It was a lot of uptown beat. It was a lot of beat playing and dancing going around. It always starts in New York. That's what it normally starts at, and that's what it generated from. And then from there, you go from that era to the people starting to rap on the beats and stuff, and they made the songs that they made. And then you get to the 80s, and then you get to the 90s and the 2000s, 2010s, and then the current era. Now, if I have to divide every era into the difficult ones, I would say, of course, the beginning stages, the 60s and 70s, and I'll go 60s and 70s. It's the 60s and 70s right now. 60s and 70s, I'm not going to call it the most difficult era for music-wise, because it just timing. It's all about timing there. So if let's say I was on vacation back in that day, and I was in New York or whatever, and we hear this type of music, we hear the vibes to it, we're dancing, doing, oh, this is pretty cool. And let's see, my cousin or something, he has the stuff at his house, and we're from Oklahoma, and we go back down south in Oklahoma, and we at the club or whatever or something, and he gets on there, he starts mixing a little bit, he doing what they did and a little bit different because he has a different flow and style like that. And I grabbed the mic and I started rapping or something, and I started flowing with the flow. Cool. As long as it sounds good, people are dancing to it anyway. A lot of people not listening to what I'm saying anyway, except the artists that will be listening to it. And then I started it down here, down south or whatever. And then over there with California, and somebody else is starting up in the West Coast, and they start going in or whatever. And eventually we have 3 different sides of the things with the music, and that's how it starts. So it's all about timing there. No complaints. It's all about timing there. Plus, traveling was way a lot different back then than it is compared to nowadays. So then you fast forward to the 80s. Now, the 80s, now we're starting to get the music is starting to get more popular and the culture is starting to enjoy it more and more and more. Now we get more different artists and stuff like that. But we haven't hit that next echelon of the music type. Now, what happened to the 90s with rap taking front stage? Me as me, I always said there was a difference between hip hop and rap. I said hip hop was more vibes, you're more dancing to it, there's more grooving and stuff. I always call that hip hop. And I say rap is more towards the artists that rap. They talk about the life struggles and stuff like that. They talk about this and all this other stuff like that. They talk about different styles of stuff. The more serious tone, sometimes the more serious tone, sometimes it's just he just flowing and is rapping and it sounds great. Two different, and me to me, two different styles. It's just two different styles. Now I'm not gonna go through a list of who are rappers and who are hip hop artists. If I had to bring two of them, if I had to bring the two together, oh Lord, I'm trying to do it easiest, simplest way possible. I would have to go with. Let me think. Let me think. If I had to think, Chris Brown is a hip hop star. He's a hip hop artist. They'll call him a rapper, but he also sings and do R&B. He also do pop music. I would call that more of a hip hop artist because he's not, and when he's on the songs and stuff, and if he does decide to rap, he shows off his skill sets, but mostly he's not there to just be sitting up there straight up rapping. He usually does the chorus, he usually does more singing. To me, a hip hop artist. Yeah, I could easily start out to rap if he wanted to, but that's not his domain. His domain is hip hop style of rapping, if that makes sense to you. Compared to a rapper, I have easy cop outs, but I'm going with Scarface. Scarface is a rapper, in my personal opinion. That's to me, that's a more of a your rapper, in my personal opinion, compared to a Chris Brown. If you put the two together, which one are you calling a rap star, and which one are you calling a hip hop star? Now, granted, the music that they be making also plays a factor into it, but that's why I say he can do those that can do both, but you can tell who's more for what type of music. I think Boosie, he does more rap music. Boosie's more of a rapper. He does more rap music. If you go listen to a lot of his songs, they're more rap songs than they are just hip hop. My person hip hop is to me, my person opinion, hip hop boils down to not boiled down to anything, quite honestly. Hip hop is more, you get more radio play, you get more fans involved, it's a lot different. I always say that Drake is a hip hop artist, and I never call him a rapper. That's why when people are like, oh, why he don't respond he'll respond, cool, and he'll do that side, but that's not his that's not him. That's why he always had. If he was a straight up, if he was just a regular rapper doing regular rapper things, a lot of the times he wouldn't need other rappers to rap. You see Drake and 21 Savage when they do their stuff. Drake and J. Cole when they did first person shooter. To me, I feel like J. Cole's a rapper, not just an hip hop artist. He's a rapper. He raps. He's part of the rap side of things. But once again, it's a subject that I can go back and forth with. Of course, people would bring up XYZ. I'll be like, this is XYZ. In my personal eyes and opinion. I'm not saying I'm correct. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, in my eyes and the way I see it, this is what I see it as. Subject to change? Always. Please let me know down in the comment section. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Hit that share button and grade it 5 stars if you're on Spotify. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm pretty sure I've had that conversation with a lot of people before, hip hop and rap artists. But let's get back on topic. 70s and 80s and like 60s and 70s and stuff. I would probably put the 80s too, because I'm not too for sure about a lot of 80 rap music that I can think of. I'm not too for sure if I can name any. I know there's artists out there, but I probably haven't listened to any of them. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think this era of rap music, this era. So this era is the 2020s. A lot of people believe it's harder this in this era too. there's pecking orders in this era right now, and not really in this room. And there's a right now there's a void that can be filled. Whenever the baby came out in late, what was that? Late 2010s, in the late 2010s, when the baby came out, he was really popular. His songs were different, his rap skills was different, and the songs and music videos he was making was a lot different. And he filled this void that was left for hip hop, for rap music, for whatever reason. It was like, yes, people are doing music, everybody's cool, and then the baby comes in and it's like, oh wow, this guy's amazing, this guy's epic, this guy's everywhere, this guy's doing every song possible, this guy's doing ABCD. And right now, in the 2020s, that's what needs to happen again. There has to be an artist that sees this opening. There's an opening, there's a clear opening that could catapult them to the success that they want to do. Who's that artist? I don't know. I don't know the artist. I don't know. I don't know who that can be. That could be anybody. It could be anybody right now. We could be right now there's an underground rapper right now in Oklahoma that's got the flow, got the skills, got the mics, got the flow, got the lyrics, got the skills, got everything possible. He just missing that little bit to get him. And a big time company has not seen him yet. So that's why he or even she hasn't got there. And then there's an artist that's preparing themselves to hopefully take that here by the mid 2020s. Because I'll say right about now, nothing's really caught my attention that much. It's been 4 years in the 2020s, and it's kind of weak. It's a weak. It's right now. It's a weak. It's very weak. Music wise, for me personally, music wise, because I don't listen to everybody. I can't. It's impossible. And that's the thing. That's why it's like this is not one of those most difficult eras to do music. It's because there's so many people that can do music. Right now, right now I can make a whole music video, rap lyrics or whatever, and I can slap it here on the YouTube or the Spotify and tell people to go listen, go listen, go listen. But that's the thing, is people gonna go listen? I can't force somebody to go listen. I just tell them, hey, go listen to this. If you need something, if you need new rap music or something, I got you. I'm the upcoming whatever. And it's just that. And then maybe TikTok can help me blow up bigger. Maybe not. Maybe not. Social media can help out. Maybe a big time record label sees potential into me, and then they come find me and we hook up and do the deals or whatever. But now I gotta make more music. It's, you never know. That's the thing. This era of music, while yes, there's supposedly a lot of talented people, but there's a difference between talent and what actually sells. In my personal opinion, there's a lot of artists that can freestyle and rap. I've seen it plenty of times that a lot of people can freestyle, but when it comes to putting work and making music and putting out a 3 minute music video with 2 verses and a hook, are you able to do it? Are you able to do it that can sell and get you the millions to where you need to take that next step, is what they call it. They take the next step. Not a lot of right now, there's a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, you're talented, you should do. A lot of people say, oh, they talented, they can do this, but they can't do it because that's not them. They can freestyle, they can't create a song. And that's the problem that a lot of the this era of music is. There's a mixture between so much talent and skills that they have it for freestyling. When it comes to making that music, to lock down and make a song, that's where I struggle with. And that's why when they sign these deals and stuff, we need 5 albums out of you. We need 4 albums out of you before you become your independent free agent. We need those 4 albums. They struggle to get the 1 album. 1 album, 13 songs. That's all you need. It's hard. It'll be hard for them to sit down and write 13 songs, because first they need to write a song to get them popular. That popular hit, oh, that can get you to the BET Awards. It can get you to the BET Hip Hop Awards. You know, you could be best new artist. You could be running for best new artist. But now we need to see what's next. We need to see your next. We need to see your next music, and then your next music, and then your album. We need all of that, and that's where a lot of them struggle. Sadly, very sadly, a lot of talented men and women out there, but when it gets to that nitty gritty, Could do how Cardi B did. She dropped one album and she vibes. She ain't dropped the second album. Yeah, shout out to Cardi B, superstar. I don't know how she did it, but she did it. That's differences though. That's why I said no. I think this era is the second weakest because even if you become successful, you know the pecking orders. It is Drake, there is J. Cole, there is Kendrick, there is Future, there is 21 Savage that's up there still. And then there's another stage, there's another limit to where the ASAP Rockies and the Tyler Creator and the the artists, there's different tiers that you're trying to hit, and maybe you can try to get a Chris Brown, a Trey Songz, a Drake, or whoever to come and do a song with you, and hopefully that song is big enough that it can set you good for that one song that can set you good, so you can go ahead and make a freaking album. And a lot of artists get stuck with just the one album, and now they still got three more albums before they can be freed. It's difficult. I'll say it's difficult. It's difficult, but it's not the same competition level because you're just walking in where big dogs, the big dogs running. I mean, you're running in where it's clear. It's clear. The next era I will argue with would be 2010s. 2010s, I enjoy the 2010s as that's about mid teenage years for me, almost high school. I mean, getting out of high school and becoming adult years or whatever. 2010s to me have produced some of the best music, my personal opinion, some of the best music out there because they can keep up with a lot of people. They flow with a lot of people. They went head to head with a lot of people. Drake start peaking. Drake, Kendrick, Cole, still the big three right there. Still the big three. When after big three, apparently just the big me. I don't know. Those three was rocking. ASAP Rocky was killing, dropping albums. Chanish Gambino was dropping albums. Schoolboy Q, Tyler the Creator. Um, you had a lot of people just dropping music and albums, and it was vibes throughout the whole 2010s. It was some good music too. People remembering back to days summertime, like, oh, someone was jumping with this song when it came out. The Migos really started hitting really hard in the 2010s too with their mixtapes and stuff like that. They look really good too. I think I think even then it was a fusion of the ending of 2010, the 2000s into the 2010s, and a lot of those artists that probably started off that started off a little bit really started taking off and started getting bigger. I was thinking every time I look at the 2011 BET ciphers and stuff, you had Big Kyrick, you had Tech Nine, Kendrick, B.O.B., MGK was all in one cipher together. I'm like, oh, that's crazy to look at nowadays. It's crazy to look at that. And then MMG and then YMCMB was still a lot of stuff that happened. DJ Khaled about to take a next step in his We the Best Forever. Ace Hood, Rick Ross is still dropping music and stuff. I mean, the 2010s had a lot of variety. It wasn't like competition wise, in my personal opinion. I think they come in third. I definitely think they come in third. They're closer to the top than they are at the bottom. I can say that right now. They're very close to the top than they are at the bottom. And I might be selling them really short on the 2010s, but they 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 had some man, they had some great stuff too. They had some really hardcore great stuff too. But now the big argument now is between the 90s and the 2000s. One of the biggest arguments always is between these two eras of music, wrestling, sports. A lot of stuff early 2000s and the 2000s and 90s is between the two. It's always been like that. And I know and whatever my answer is, that's what I'm sliding with. And I'm sliding with Nelly's answer, quite honestly. I'm on Nelly's side. That's my answer. The 90s, this the thing with the 90s. There's also something I didn't talk about when I was explaining the music stuff earlier. In the 90s, while yes, Pac, Big, Jay-Z, Nas, Scarface, NWA, those guys are around in their prime. But the big difference is people's access to music. That's the big difference. That's the thing. If a West Coast rapper drops a new song or an album, I don't know what the time frame would be for the East Coast to hear new song or new albums in the 90s. I'm gonna type that into Google. in the 90s, how long does the East hear? That's probably not even a good answer. That's probably not a good way. I'm gonna search it right here. In the 1990s, how long would it take to hear songs from the West to the East? They're probably like, what kind of question is that? Uh, yeah, this didn't do anything I was hoping it was gonna do. Because not all songs were available like that, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, it would take. Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. Uh, how long did news travels from the East Coast to the West Coast, music wise, in the 90s? Uh, let's see. I'm trying to I'm trying to find the best way to think about this. Uh, yeah, this ain't. Let's let's just say how long does it take to travel from the East Coast to the West Coast? Because uh, before maybe right here before the TV radio, even though the 90s had this stuff, even though the 90s had this stuff, uh, man, people got these long paragraphs. Man, this is not what I'm talking about. But anyway, we just have to assume because the news didn't travel as fast as one would assume. You know, breaking news stuff would just be now just happening, and it'll take a while. It'll take a while. I think music. I don't know. I'm gonna suggest. I'm assuming. I'm assuming music wise, it's easier to get everybody in the West Coast or the East Coast, wherever the song is dropping, that to listen to it before the other side of the world listen to it. Like I said, I might be mistaken. Please hit that. Please let me know down in the comment section to correct me. Please, if I'm incorrect, please let me know. If I'm incorrect, my whole thought process changes. But what I'm thinking is, if an East Coast rapper drop a music, drop a mixtape, drop an album, whatever, everybody in the East Coast will hear it. Most people from the East Coast will hear it. I'd assume about later that week, maybe even longer, the West Coast will finally get to it, and then they just now hearing it, thinking it's brand new, thinking that it's just happened, like today type deal. And I think that's how long stuff travels. Because back then there was no CDs like that. There wasn't CDs like that, so you couldn't just play my CD. No, you had to actually go get a record player or what do you call that? Cassette tapes. Is it cassette? Is it cassette tapes? And they had to get it and then freaking play it and then let that mud bang. Have you seen Hip Hop Evolution? It was on Netflix. I don't know if it's still on Netflix. Don't quote me. I don't know. Hip Hop Evolution. People talk about their backstories about how they came into the rap game and stuff like that. Too Short and E40 comes to mind firstly because they came from the Bay Area. And they always said they used to sell them out the tapes and stuff at the back of their trunks before. And even then, Too Short was only selling that one song, and that was Freaky Tales. Freaky Tales, one song on that whole tape. Bam. Sell them at the back of this truck. Everybody would grab one. That's how they was able to get it. So that was during that time frame. So I can only imagine everybody else's music thing before it was naturally quicker to access. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. Did that make sense? So if Too Short, E40, brand new song that came out, brand new song came out, it probably won't hit over there to the other side for another week or two, maybe 2 3 weeks. I don't know. Somebody has to get their hands on it and then give it to that person, so that person can get to the radio person, so that radio person can play it. And then the shipping and handling and all that stuff compared in the 90s and stuff is not up to date like it is nowadays. Y'all have to put your mindset back to that time frame. They didn't have quick access to everything. So I would assume with that happening, they didn't get a lot of songs and stuff didn't get up to date. This reminds me, I know it's probably historically inaccurate. I don't know how accurate it is. The Notorious movie that came out in 2009 about the Notorious B.I.G. Whenever the Hit 'Em Up song happened, Big didn't even know nothing about the song. You know, he came downstairs, homeboy in the car. You could tell he already listened to it probably once or twice by then. But how long did it take him to get that? You know what I'm saying? And it looked like I said, he probably dropped it a week or two ago. Big just now hearing it for the first time that day. He's like, what? What's going on? And then his lady knew about it at some point, whether or not when she got home and heard it, or she ended up somebody letting her hear it at some. I don't know, but you could tell that music didn't travel that fast. You know, once again, it was a cassette tape, so he couldn't just play it on a radio form. That's impossible. So he had to wait to even get it before they even heard anything about it. And then the beef is on. Now the beef is on. It's like, oh, okay, okay, type of deal. You know what I'm saying? But they had to be up. So it's like they had to keep up to date with everybody else's music, but they could be so far behind. They don't know how many. Who knows how long they behind they've been compared to you in the same state or you in the same area or whatever. You get access faster than someone from across the states. That's why I said, well, that's why I say, well, yes, the 90s had beautiful artists. They had great artists and stuff. The competition level, I don't think wasn't even that close, in my personal opinion. And then if the competition was there, who, you know what I'm saying? Just who? It was, in my personal pop, and during the 90s, Pac and Big was the face of the 90s for majority of it. The NWA also had their face run, but Pac and Big was like 1A and 1B. They was neck to neck all the time. And then NWA, and then you had other artists and stuff coming out, but they didn't come out till later. You know, Snoop Dogg and them dropped Doggy Style. That was his number one thing for a little while and whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Nas and them come out. Jason, you know what I'm saying? They were just a little bit later, a little bit later. They was a little bit later, late 90s and stuff. You know, where Pac is on his way, where he could still be doing music, but he's also on his way to acting and stuff. And Big is still dropping music, but now he's trying to create a different groups and stuff. He's trying to put on anybody else that's trying to get on. You know what I'm saying? Now they're trying to move away while these new cats started coming up. Busta Rhymes and all of them are starting to come up, but they haven't hit their peak yet. They haven't hit their craziness yet. That's why I side with Nelly when it comes to the 2000s, because he stopped with a couple names. He forgot Busta Rhymes, Ludacris. Oh, he probably said Ludacris. Like the names he said: DMX, 50 Cent, Lil Wayne, Eminem, freaking. Then he should have. There's Ludacris. There's Missy Elliott. You know, there's some of the one hit wonders. Not one hit wonders, but you know, big songs like Hurricane Chris, Soldier Boy, Boosie and them, UGK, Outkast was still going around. All that's just to fight for the top of the freaking food chain. That sounds stressful. That sounds tiring and stressful. So that's why he said, yeah. That's why I said, yeah. I kind of agree with. I agree with Nelly. His era, the era of the 2000s, was a lot more difficult because now a lot of people cannot get. And now a lot of people on the radio, a lot of radios are getting the music faster, so now they can play that song as soon as possible or whatever. And you heard majority of the new songs. This also reminds me of a Lil Wayne interview that he did with him and Tiger was sitting around, whether that's an interview or a podcast. I'm assuming it's a podcast. And Lil Wayne said, you know, back in the day, you dropped a song, people stopped what they were doing to listen to your song to see if it was good or not. Nowadays, that's not how it is. You can just drop a song, TikTok go crazy or whatever, and then that's it. He said back then, people actually stopped to put time in to listen to what you had to say and what song you was making. And then That's why the competition was so high. So you can just imagine Ludacris is doing Roll Out and Get Back and all stuff. Busta Rhymes comes back and he's doing Breaking Neck and Get Out, and then Missy Ellis dropping her 1 Minute Man and her Work It, and then DMX is dropping his stuff, and then Eminem was dropping his, and Wayne got to drop his, and 50's like, hold the fuck on, this is mine's too. Jay-Z still dropping stuff too. Like, dang, dog, I just want to get number one time, man. I'm just trying to have some fun. And that's the culture. That was the hip hop and rap culture in the 2000s. This wasn't room for breathing, pretty much. It's like, you slow down a little bit, you're going to get taken over. Just letting you know. Rick Ross thing came out during that time frame. I mean, what are we doing? T-Pain was on everybody's chorus almost. You gotta hit hits after hits. That's why I believe a lot of the music was so good, just because the competition level was so freaking high. They had to come out with music. You have to be consistent with the music. The music had to be good. It'll just suck if you come out with a music that sucked and then turn around your competition and just drop your three other competition and drop three heats back to back. Like, oh god dang it, now I'm behind again. Now this new thing came out. Who's Hurricane? Who's Webby? God dang it. Who's Webby? Where he come from? Oh, 4. God dang it. I'm just trying to make some music. That's all I'm trying to do. Competition level. Competition level. I think competition level is good on any sport, anything. Competition level is good because now it makes you step your game up even more. And that's why Nelly's like, yeah, this is a harder competition. It's harder competition. I have what I can have. Air Force Ones, and I am number one, no matter who's second or third or whatever. I am number one. Hey. He doing all that, and Busta Rhymes talking about Busta Rhymes come through. You know, my homie from One Track said, if you ain't from the ghetto, then don't come to the fucking ghetto. But I'm gonna let Rick James say something. Rick James, what? Wait a second. What are you talking about? And then turn around and Lil Wayne got Lil Wayne is doing it's the hustler music, everybody. That's the motherfucking hustler music. So vibe to it, y'all. Ride to it, y'all. Like, and then here come this new dude. He called Ace Hood. Cash flow, bankroll. And then turn around. This is a big fat black dude. Who's this motherfucker? He called me the boss, Rick Ross. Whoa. I'm just trying to be number one, and all these artists and stuff is coming out. Competition levels at its highest in the 2000s. Make an argument. I'm ready for it. Hit that like, comment, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, go ahead, hit the share button, follow it everywhere on the podcast. Of course, if you're on YouTube, go to Spotify. Spotify also got some audio only podcasts that I do throughout weeks that y'all don't hear podcasts on YouTube here. And of course, if you're on Spotify, jump over to the YouTube stuff. But normally, a lot of stuff from YouTube comes to Spotify, so it's back and forth, back and forth. Both sides, y'all do your thing. Help a brother out, and I'll catch you all on the next podcast.